what did you mean for those who hadn't seen that video? That was one of your earlier videos. What
Yeah.
do you mean Santa Claus is real? I
Yeah.
thought it was
Well,
this conception. I thought it was a Coca-Cola product and
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I think it was really just to help people break through their materialist way of thinking. People think that things that exist are only exist like in something that can be contained and perceived and held in the hand, which
Right.
is ridiculous, but it's a habit that we have. And we enter into it, and especially when people, the debunkers and these types of people that try to mock religious phenomena, they tend to fall back on this very, very annoying kind of reductionism and materialism. But the truth is that's not how it works. And so in the video, I was mostly trying to say that Santa Claus exists. Like, he just go to the mall at Christmas, there he is. And you say, well, that's not Santa Claus. Well, it's the body of Santa Claus, because you recognize it, right? And you know what he looks like, you know how he acts. And if Santa Claus at the mall starts acting like a drunk guy, then you're going to be very disturbed by that and bothered. And so it's just to help people understand that the idea that beings are just these limited things that you can hold in your hand is ridiculous. And that
Right.
there are all types of levels of agency and all types of levels of being that you can experience. And the Santa Claus one was mostly as a kind of humorous way to help you understand, for example, how you can exist in a city, and how when
Right.
you encounter a judge in a city, that judge is not just Joe the judge. He participates in the body of an agency that acts on you, that can put you in jail, that can tax you, that can do all these things. And so you could say something like, a city doesn't exist because I can't hold it, I can't do it. But when the cop puts the handcuffs on you and puts you in jail, you have to realize that there are levels of agency that are beyond the individual, and just have to accept that. And
Right.
and thinking that way is now helping a lot of secular people, like you mentioned, John Vervaeke and other secular types, understand what angels are and understand what demons are, because they think that angels are just invisible people with wings. And it's like, yeah, we represent them that way, but the vast agencies and intelligences that have principality over large swaths of human existence, you know it's more than just a bunch of invisible people with angels. It has more to do with understanding transpersonal agency and how it affects us, and how we participate in these subtle bodies that these beings have.
Right. And your explanation of the Santa Claus again gets back at what we just highlighted with the one in the mini, and that you're highlighting that it has to be real because the category itself, the universal category of Santa Claus, it's being substantiated by every mall Santa Claus that you see. It's the one in the mini coming, it's both and. You
Yeah.
see, it's an orthodox way to approach these things that is just so foreign to the Western mind, because they presuppose the universal, but yet at the same time they don't rationally understand how that is the case, and they just perceive the imminent,
Yeah.
the multiplicity.
And it's really important for people, especially now, to understand that, because uh you know if you don't believe in these transpersonal agencies, then you always have to rely on massive conspiracies. Like, there's no other way, right?
Right.
Because if Santa Claus doesn't have some form of existence and agency over you, that means that there's this massive conspiracy of parents all over the world that all collude together to lie to their children about this guy that comes in their house at midnight. And he's like, can you imagine a crazy conspiracy like that? Like, the entire world governments are involved, and like every single in all of the West, you have this secret society of people who teach their children about Santa Claus. It's crazy. But
Right.
so you don't need that. You just need to understand spiritual agency to realize that when you notice patterns and behaviors in the world that actually coalesce, you don't necessarily always need a human chain of causality for it to happen. You just need to understand how transpersonal agency works. And it can help us to not go into crazy paranoid fantasies when we notice patterns, because then
Right.
we start to imagine all these like weird secret conspiracies. Like, you actually don't need them for it to be
Right.
real. It's worse because sometimes it's just demons. It's
Right.
worse because it's less. It'll make you less paranoid to say, it's just a demon that's manifesting itself in the world. You don't need all human agents all across for it to be real.
Right.